Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do a little preamble before we begin so you can get how this is going to go. I will be ordering the legions today. Not a cop-out tier list, not a scale of 1 through 10. We are going in descending order from the worst to the best. I don't care what your favorite legion is, these are as objective as the High Council could make them. I expect some to object to the placement of their legion, but I also expect not to care, because some of you are so boring you would watch cabbage boil for fun. Here are today's measurements for rankings. Behavior. Are they stoic? Are they whiny? Are they perseverant? That kind of stuff. Methodology. Do they fortify? Do they strike rapidly? Do they ambush? So on and so forth. History. Where have they been? What have they done? Why has it mattered? And how has it shaped them? Primarch. Is their Primarch weak? Are they a moron? Are they formidable? You get it. And finally, the drip. Because a legion does not matter if they are ugly. It's pretty much like Hollywood rules. All of these qualifiers will be brought together to identify the overall badass ranking of that legion. Also, you're getting sniper gameplay, because quite frankly, I don't think you guys even care if I dress up as the legion. Okay, let's begin. This legion is comprised of betrayers, weaklings, and boy touchers. Their methodology is almost identical to Starscream's. They will oppress the weak if given the chance, but get absolutely folded when a capable enemy arrives. They have a rich and storied history of being weak, conniving backstabbers who end up getting jaw-jacked whenever their plots are discovered. Their Primarch appears to be equally pathetic, having been empowered by all 4 demon gods, yet still unable to prevent Space Rambo from stealing his lunch money. Their only plus is their armor, which admittedly looks fantastic and menacing. Unfortunately, its wearers seem determined to prove otherwise. Apart from avoiding showers and all things cleanly, they can't be spoken for in terms of a vibrant personality. Their methodology consists of being punched in the face so long that their enemies lose the will to carry on due to their stench, which is also not stellar. Their history consists of the second dumbest fall to chaos and being budget Imperial Fists in wars of attrition. They're really looking great here. Their drip was cool once upon a time, but it is now quite literally shit. It was their Primarch, however, who ended up putting them here. Through virtue of being a whiny, hypocritical bitch every waking moment of his life from mortal to demon prince, he still ain't shit, nor will he ever be unless we're talking about a literal fucking turd. The behavior of the Emperor's children is nothing short of disgusting and deplorable. Their methodology solely consists of them acting on their sick and depraved impulses. Their history consists of quite possibly the biggest fall from grace across any of the legions. The only thing preventing them from being the worst is how incredible they once were. The same goes for their Primarch, who is trash now, but used to be among the best the Imperium had to offer. The royal purple and gold they had once looked fantastic, but again they let us down because they've since changed it. Fantastic. Great job, guys. 10 out of 10. You are the Bill Cosby of legions. Go fuck yourself. This is a case of the legion being moderately acceptable, but a Primarch being unbearably moronic. For a guy capable of preventing the Horus Heresy, oh boy did Magnus sure make it infinitely fucking worse at every turn. The behavior and methodology is the same, it's just space wizards, and their history mostly consists of having a simple way to solve a problem and then catastrophically fucking it up. The history is further enforced by their Primarch Magnus the Bedshitter stumbling through the heresy, knocking everything over, and blaming everyone else. The old paint job was cool, but now they're just determined to walk like an Egyptian. The Iron Hands did not beat the previous 3 contestants because they are so incredibly good, but because they didn't suck enough to rank lower. They are stubborn, they are pissed off, but they're still not enough to be a real problem. They're practically all cyborg heavy weapons guy at this point. Historically, they're not that incredible, but Iron Father Sabik Wayland and his exploits with Nykona Sherokin tormenting the traitor legions are my favorite stories in all of Warhammer. Their Primarch is going to get a solid 0 out of 10 on account of his most memorable contribution being his death. Despite being a rather capable general, and despite not being flashy, the pitch black paint and cybernetics do look fantastic. However, I can't in good conscience put them any higher than this. The Night Lords are quite literally just criminals with superpowers. Despite their fear tactics being effective on most human populations, it doesn't exactly work against Space Marine, and their history reflects this pretty well. So how did they end up this high? Well, they did it by having a Primarch named Conrad Goddamn Kurz. Conrad was not the definition of Black Air Force energy. He was the definition of a Black Air Force enemy. No switch up, no curveball, just straight fucking gas. When you almost murder Lionel Johnson in a fight on 2 separate occasions, albeit with shenanigans, you are truly going to be the stuff of legend, even if your Legion admittedly fucking sucks. These are the Lex Luthor to the Ultramarines Superman. Simply put, they are the default bad guy when you can't think of anything else to creatively do. As boring as that may be, they are still a necessity. They also have some of the richest history on account of them being the main protagonist and then turning into the main heel for several millennia. They are bread and water, your staple villains when you don't want to get too risky or adventurous. Horus was pretty much in the same exact boat, except he's kind of at the bottom of the ocean now. As for the drip, black and gold has never gone wrong, and it's not gonna start going wrong now. Lies and deceit are the name of their game, and damn do they play it remarkably well. Unfortunately, they play it so well that it loops back around and bites them in the ass. However, they do still maintain their certified menace to society behavior. Just a couple boys in turquoise fucking around and finding out time and time again. Your history is confusing, and I can't be bothered to learn because none of it makes sense. However, that's exactly what you tried to do, so fantastic job. The same can apply to your Primarchs, of which one may have died, but who even knows? Your drip, however, is unquestionable. It fucks. These guys are pissed all day, every day, and intend to make it everyone else's problem. Credit where it's due, this has resulted in them being what you picture in your head when I say Chaos Space Marine. We gotta respect the grind of massive slabs of meat engaging exclusively in melee combat with no fucking sleeves for some reason, while everyone else has guns. At least a little bit you gotta respect it, right? As far as history goes, we can be honest with ourselves here and say it's mostly just guys trying to impress their dad. And speaking of their dad, my sweet baby boy Angron. Yes, you have done innumerable things wrong, and you're dumb as a fucking stump now. But for once, with a Primarch, it's not actually your fault. As for the drip, like I said, these are the guys you picture when you think of a Chaos Space Marine. And honestly, that's impressive as all get out. Similarly to the Black Legion being default bad guys, these are the default good guys. They follow directions, and that's pretty much it. You can tell because it's a monumental moment whenever one has a singular personality trait. They spend time playing the long game, and it works for them, mostly. As far as history goes, they are Warhammer's baby girls, so they're pretty much everywhere throughout it. Their Primarch is fairly down the middle as well. He's fucking awful at fighting though, but he is very good at commanding and delegation. The drip still looks like they're prepping for a gender reveal party though, so they're not getting extra points there. These are the nicest guys in the shittiest universe ever, and they've gotta get credit. They are like reverse firefighters. They're gonna rescue a puppy by setting that evil alien child who's petting it on fire. They're actually not so prevalent across history, but that's because they write about winning wars, not necessarily saving the innocent. Are they the most effective fighting force? No. But they are the one you want to see coming to save your ass. As for Vulcan, one too many steps in the wrong direction, and he will be happy to remind you that he is nice by choice, not necessity. When it comes down to their outfits, There are certainly worse things than being covered in dragon bones. These speed demons keep their cards close to their chest, and don't particularly give a damn if you've got a problem with that. The Space Mongolians are gonna do what Space Mongolians want to do, whether you like it or not, and you gotta love them for it. They live life on their own terms, and haven't a concern in the world what other people think of them. Their Primarch, as usual, shares that same sentiment, but there's a little more to him than that. Jagatai Khan doesn't say much not only because he doesn't care to boast, but because he knows he is the baddest man in the room. He even decked out his men in snow-white gear, which would be a negative until you realize they're gonna paint themselves with blood. 6 all the way to 1, so from here on out, is going to upset some people. Imperial Fists are well-seasoned Ultramarines. They are incredibly valuable to the safeguarding and preservation of humanity, plus most of their fans are pretty laid back and chill. However, the Legion is also infuriatingly and even detrimentally stubborn. For every legendary last stand at Terra, you have the inverse of being obliterated at the Iron Cage. And at the head of it all is a man who seems determined to match each incredible victory of his with a disappointing failure, Rogel Dorn. Having your outfit associated with Ronald McDonald and creating the Black Templars doesn't exactly help your case either. Congratulations, gents. You finally beat the Imperial Fists in the court of public opinion. These dour boys do their job and they do it well, likely because death is the alternative. The Iron Warriors continually get the worst job descriptions available, yet they still show up to work every single day without complaint. And although history will show the Loyalists victorious at Terra, it was Perturabo and his Iron Warriors that made the traitors anything more than a fart in a tornado. Whether it's beating up his brothers, telling God Horus to go fuck himself, or breaking Dorn's sandcastles, Perturabo had it on lock. However, they can go no higher due to him wimping out and becoming a demon prince instead of just dying like a man. This is a rowdy bunch of drunks and criminals that always finds a way to persevere through the bullshit that they probably started. When they hear a knock on the door, they need to wade through a sea of empty beer cans to answer with an axe in one hand and a whole turkey stuck on the other. They have been around since the beginning and will likely be kicking until the bitter end, and their battle history is as follows. You think you have us beaten? I see your bet, and I raise you several war crimes, good sir. Their Primarch, although a complete blowhard, has earned the majority of his bragging rights, and despite that shitty shade of baby blue, the animal pelts and bones on their armor make for a proper Viking look. Have you ever met someone whose silence feels deafening? Through a look, they're able to convey precisely how much you irritate them. Call it biased if you will, but I appreciate someone else who's mastered that ability. These beaky boys think sending an entire regiment to claim a planet is ridiculous. They'd rather just send 5 dudes who would do it faster, cleaner, and quite frankly better. Their history can be summed up in one word: underdogs. But there's nothing underwhelming about their Primarch. Corvus Corax has ascended to a being of living shadow, and while his lame-ass brothers are busy defending from chaos, he's out there hunting it down wherever it resides. And everyone is wearing that signature jet-black armor to match the shadows they reside in. They've also got the good standing of being my favorite legion. This legion would be the #1 spot, if not for the last 10,000 years. Are the Dark Angels stubborn? Of course they are, but it doesn't matter, because these bastards are going to win the fight one way or another. They will come out victorious in any and all confrontation through sheer virtue of, fuck you, we are the Dark Angels. Having the longest history of any legion doesn't come lightly, and they will not let you forget it. Unfortunately, as of late, the band is a bit broken up, and that's a massive detraction. But having the Primarch Lionel Johnson and his teleporting hot doggery found in his Uncle Iroh phase nearly make up for it twofold. As for all the green, the old drip did look cooler, but this is acceptable. Now across all the legions, there is one that cannot be competed with in terms of sheer concentrated badassery, and that is the Dark Angels. Perfection with a dark secret is often such a played out trope. Just look at Fulgrim. But goddamn, these vampires make it feel like it's never getting old. The Legion fucks, its members are legendary, and more are in the making with every battle. When the Blood Angels are involved, you know it's going down in the history books. Pairing elegance with brutality, every head must bow and every tongue must confess they are simply the greatest. Their Primarch was such an undeniable badass that he even made martyrdom look cool. And not that they even needed it, but their blood-red paint jobs just put them even further out of reach for any other competition. Couple things before I head out. If you disagree, that's fine, but swear less than you want to so YouTube doesn't flag your comment. This video is addressing the Legions, and by extension the chapters that branched off from them. I'm gonna cosplay as your dad and ignore your ass if you start asking about chapters. The next video should be my variation of drunk history about the Dark Angels, but I refuse to do it if I don't have the armor, so who the hell knows. If you're looking for people to beat lethal with, just as a side note, hop in the Discord server in the description if you're old enough. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.